Good morning, guys. Mike, aka Crypto Jewels. Here we are with Bitcoin, and we have finally started to get that flush that I have been waiting on, that we have been waiting on now for several weeks during this entirely disgusting, boring, nasty, frustrating, choppy corrective structure. So that is a good thing. Now, I want to point out the psychology real quick of the market. I assume a lot of people out there are really starting to feel some fear. That's typical when we start to get down in this area and when we start to kind of terminate this pattern. So that's a complete normal psychology and sentiment in the market when you start to obviously, see some red and dump, and people all of a sudden are starting to fear and talk about crazy low targets back down to 10, 8K again. So, that fear that you're feeling, if you're feeling that fear is normal, and it's an indicator if you know how to use it. So if you guys are in my, premium Discord, we talk about sentiment and we talk about emotions a lot. And I wrote a blog about it not too long ago as well. But those are all normal behaviors in the market, and this is when people get shaken out of their positions, and usually they're selling the bottom. Now, obviously, this is an analysis. I could be wrong. It can go against me, but ultimately, what I'm seeing still, for those of you guys who have been watching these updates and paying attention to this channel, is that we do have this one wave up, and we have been working on some sort of a frustrating corrective structure here. What that corrective structure is, as you guys can see, I've got a couple different labels on the chart. I apologize for the cluster of it, but ultimately, I believe we are, probably in this WXYXZ, which is the orange count, which breaks down like this: an ABC, an ABC, ABC, which puts in your W, your X, and your Y, and then an ABC for your X. And then we are working on this yellow A, B, and now down into our C for our final fifth wave down. And ultimately, those targets are still remaining, regardless of what count you're looking at. The targets are still all around the same place, which has always been, this zone down here, which is our 50% to 61.8% retracement level. You can see I've got these two red lines here, and those two red lines, to me, are the most likely spots within that zone to reverse. So 23,732 and 24,446. So as far as I'm concerned, those are the areas we're ultimately targeting. Doesn't mean we have to get down there, and it doesn't mean that we're not going to stop if we do get below this, my lower, 23,732, is our 61.8% retracements at 23,331. So ultimately, I believe that we will dip into this support zone. And ultimately, I believe that once we are in this support zone, we will find a bottom, and then we will move in a three-wave structure off of the low with a three-wave corrective structure, and then breaking back above the top of that impulsive structure. And that would be a technical indicator with technically sound indicator that we have bottomed and that we can assume the bottom is in. So that's ultimately what we're looking for. But the way this breaks down as of right now is, I believe, my primary, I've got these other counts on here, but my primary is that this is an ABC for an A wave. This is a B wave. And now we are working on our 1, 2, and I think we, likely are putting in our 3 now. And then we'll, kind of squiggle around for maybe a day or so, and then we will come down and finally put our 5th in. somewhere in this zone down here is ultimately what I'm looking for. And yeah, so we've, even though this has been extremely frustrating and very boring at times, I believe we've navigated this pretty well, given the disgusting chop. This corrective structure has morphed more times than I can count, 20, 30 times. I mean, we had at some point we had a triangle, up here, and it didn't follow through. At some point we had a larger degree impulse, just bringing our C wave straight down. It didn't follow through. We ended up getting that higher at that time B wave, and it ended up following through, but not impulsively. It actually ended up morphing into another 3-wave structure. So, this entire structure has been broken really down into 3-wave structures ultimately, which is a corrective structure. You've got this as a 3-wave structure, then you've got an upwards 3-wave structure, a downwards 3-wave structure, an upwards 3-wave structure, and now a potential downwards 3-wave structure. So, this is a very overlapping corrective structure, which again is a good indicator and a good sign, if you know Elliott wave, for this to be a correction, which means it's a counter trend move, which means ultimately the trend is going in an upwards manner. So that's my bias. That's what I'm looking for. And I'll keep these updated and we'll go from there. See y'all later.